when we look at the workplace and we ask, I mean, I've identified some potential risk factors, but let's be a little more focused on the range of risk factors to mental well-being, which is really the positive way of looking at all this. And in the workplace, these are very common risk factors. Bullying, harassment, gender-based, race, ethnic-based harassment, discrimination of any kind that may or may not be based on gender or race, perceived injustices, people just feel that they have been shortchanged in all kinds of ways. Role overload, which is directly linked to stress, big cause of stress. Interpersonal conflict, work-life conflict. Each of these can be topics for symposia like this, right? Yet when you put it all together and recognize that indeed they are, fairly common. I mean, bullying alone. The research suggests that something like 30% of employees in Canada and the United States have experienced bullying in the recent past. Bullying is generalized psychological harassment, often by someone in a position of power. So these are more common risks than we might think. Another way to look at it in organizational terms is to address the whole stress problem. And again, when we look at stress, what we understand is that, stress is something that can't be addressed simply by having lunch and learns about stress reduction. You can't do it that way. And I know that in some workplaces, in fact, I've just spent a lot of time talking with people in healthcare who are really positive about the fact that now their workplace health promotion programs have on-site therapeutic massage. And I know that you said people are working sort of above the neck now, but in fact in healthcare there's a lot of physical work that frontline care providers do, and so again they say this physical, this going for this 20-minute massage, it's terrific. It's it actually helps relieve stress. Well, that's a very temporary effect, and it does loosen up the muscles for sure. In order to really address what is often seen as kind of a mental health issue, stress, you actually need to dig down into job design and the organizational and work environment features that determine how people go about their daily tasks. You need to give them more control, and you basically need to support them in meeting whatever those requirements are. If we look at just the workplace building block, there's 4 building blocks. We just look at that one, which is the workplace, what I call the vibrant workplace. What's, I think, most telling about the ingredients of a vibrant workplace? And there they are. And look at the top one, trust, respect, and fairness. Now, the ingredients like that are critical to people's psychosocial well-being in a workplace, and that has positive spillovers to the rest of their life. And there's an abundance of research that documents that. Okay? So these are ingredients that are really going to contribute simultaneously, and that's the key here, simultaneously to both well-being and performance. When these are in place, and really it's important to look at them as a bundle, when they're in place, and they can be at different levels, and you can measure all this through surveys and other diagnostic tools, you are definitely going to be improving these big outcomes, which are very connected. So, are we at the point where we can actually start putting our hands on those levers of a vibrant workplace? What more do we need to do? What are the other resources required in order to come up with organizational solutions for this problem of stigma and to really kind of shift to the other end of that continuum and talk about well-being? Well, I think we've got some distance to go. And here's just some illustrations coming from recent surveys showing that there is a lack of awareness amongst executives. Although I must say that there are some important strides being made. BCE's contribution, and George Cope is the CEO, contributing $50 million to various mental health causes, including research. That's, I think, really exemplary of the kind of leadership that's needed. And also the fact that barely half, this is conference board research, saying that just over half of large organizations have programs that really can address at an educational level, never mind more kind of rigorous interventions around the sorts of things that get at those ingredients of a vibrant workplace. So we know that if that's the case in large organizations, it's going to be maybe half that in medium-sized organizations and close to zero in small organizations, which actually constitute the large majority of businesses in this country.